If you only need to use natural language, just tell the agent, "Help me use Workflow 1 in this skill to generate 10 images about Easter. Use 10 different types of Easter themes as prompts. It would be best if the images include text like Easter or Happy Easter or typical festive elements." Then you don't need to worry about anything. Just go to the bathroom or grab a milk tea. When you come back, boom, 10 images are already done for you, each one very refined. So this is the superpower I want to introduce today. Draw Things CLI combined with AI Agent, which is something the current Draw Things app cannot achieve. Preview of the next video. I want to briefly demonstrate a Photoshop plugin I quickly developed using the media generation kit built on Draw Things, enabling seamless integration with Photoshop based on DT's fast inference stack. Now let's get into today's topic. Draw Things CLI. CLI is the abbreviation of Command Line Interface. That means now you don't need to open the Draw Things app. You can directly use the Mac Terminal command line tool to call locally downloaded DT models and generate images based on Draw Things' self-developed high-performance inference stack. Especially for the new generation chips like M5 and A19 Pro, equipped with neural accelerators, Draw Things' inference stack has a leading advantage in performance with astonishing speed. It is very suitable for generating images through the local CLI. At the same time, CLI directly interacts with the model and inference stack, simple and direct, without the need for various app interface loading, rendering, state management, etc. So it is not an exaggeration to say that Draw Things CLI is the fastest image generation tool on macOS. I am the same as many beginners who don't understand code. It doesn't matter if you don't know, as long as you know how to use it. First step, you need to install Draw Things CLI. Currently, the most convenient way is to install it through Homebrew. If you don't have Homebrew on your computer, install it first using the following command. Then use another command in the terminal to install Draw Things CLI. One thing to note is that your terminal may stay at this step for a while. It is compiling the Draw Things CLI inference tool, but later the author knew provided pre-built binaries, so the process should be much faster. My M4 Pro took about 12 minutes to finish compiling at this stage. After that, you can open the terminal and directly follow new news documentation to generate images. To use the CLI tool well, you need to know what parameters the CLI commands support. For beginners, you don't need to memorize these, nor do you need to manually type commands. Later, you can leave all of this to AI. However, you can try the simplest official example command to generate an image and get a feel for it. Before that, you need to figure out which models you already have locally. For example, I currently only keep these 5 models locally. Using this example command to explain, it uses the default model directory of Draw Things to call local models. But my model directory is customized. I placed it under Documents as SD models. So you only need to replace it with your own model path using the supported parameters. How to quickly get the model path? Go to the folder, click the 3 dots in the top menu bar, then hold the Option key, and you will see the option to copy the folder as a path name. This command basically defines the directory, defines the model in that directory, and defines the prompt. With the Generate command at the front, you can directly generate. If you don't specify parameters, it will use the preset model configuration from the community. There is another, more convenient way. You can directly convert the JSON configuration from your Draw Things app into a Draw Things CLI command because it supports the config JSON parameter. For this, I also made a CLI parameter generator. You just need to input your model directory, paste the JSON configuration, and input the prompt, and it will convert it into a CLI command that can be directly run in the terminal. I will put this converter in the comments. Alright, now you have learned how to directly call local models in the terminal using CLI commands to generate images. Next, we go further. Since these structured command lines can directly call models to generate images, popular AI agents like Claude Code and Codex, which are naturally good at handling code and command lines, can be used here. We can create some shell scripts and let the agent automatically call and execute these scripts. This is essentially the same principle as what you see as Lobster workflows are. How to create these shell scripts? In the AI era, you don't need to write them manually. Even if you don't understand CLI, it's fine. An IDE is a very suitable tool for beginners. If you have a Google account, you can download Antigravity. If you have a ChatGPT account, you can download Codex or VS Code. Even if you are in China and cannot use those, you can use tools like Coder, CodeBuddy, or Tray with domestic models. Here, everyone should note that the following demonstrations are about methods and ideas. These scripts and codes are based on my own local environment and Draw Things configuration, so they may not work directly for you. As long as you understand the method, building scripts on your own machine is not difficult. First, you can create a folder, name it something like Draw Things CLI, then open it in your IDE. Copy the parameter descriptions and usage from Draw Things CLI help and generate help into a markdown file. These will be the foundation for creating your shell scripts. Then you can prepare some of your local models and corresponding JSON configurations and put them into the Markdown document. After that, you can instruct AI to create shell scripts for you. I remember my first version of this script was generated using Gemini 3.1 Pro, and later I refined it slightly using GPT 5.4. You can tell AI like this: help me create a shell script that will run Draw Things CLI in the terminal based on my input and instructions. All local models, model paths, parameters, and CLI generation instructions are in the document. Please create the script. That's it. Like me, if you are a beginner in coding, you just need to give instructions and don't need to worry too much. The AI agent will automatically create the script for you. This shell script is basically a collection of local models and preset parameters. Next time, you don't need to write terminal commands, just run the sh script. For example, in my script, the default model is ZImageTurbo, and the prompt is also a variable. If you run the script directly, it will execute with default settings. But if you let AI control it, it becomes much more powerful. For example, I tell the AI, I want to use Klein 9b to generate an image with size 152 plus 768. The prompt is roughly, a handsome man riding a motorcycle in heavy rain, showing a sense of speed. I can show the whole process. First, it enhances the prompt using a prompt enhancement skill. Then it automatically finds Klein 9b and its corresponding parameters in the script. Then it sends the command to the terminal and executes it. The whole process is clearly displayed. After generation, it summarizes and shows the output image path, time, size, model used, and the enhanced prompt. That was generating one image. Of course, you can ask it to generate 10 images or 100 images. Each image can use different prompts. All of this is automatically handled by AI. So Draw Things CLI is where the agent truly unleashes the potential of image generation. Besides direct image generation, CLI also supports image-to-image and image editing. You can even turn this into a workflow skill. For example, the Easter images mentioned at the beginning. I first used QN image 2512 to generate a base image at 512 plus 768, then upscaled it physically by 1.5 text to 768 plus 152, and then used Klein 4B to enhance the image. This whole process can be turned into a skill, MD. Next time you just load the skill and give your request, and the agent will automatically use this workflow to generate images. So Draw Things CLI creates a perfect agent loop and integrates well with skills. Similarly, you can create many workflow skills, letting different models do what they are best at, combining them for better results. The Draw Things CLI introduced in this episode mainly uses local compute for generation. In future videos, I will introduce Media Generation Kit, which also supports using stronger remote compute, for example, a more powerful computer or Draw Things Cloud Compute service. Feel free to follow ToolBuddy for future updates. That's all for today. If you have any questions, leave a comment or contact me. I'm not a programmer myself, so feel free to point out any mistakes. If this content helped you, please like and follow. It gives me great motivation to keep making videos. See you next time.